Rav Nachum Cohen and his wife Sarah Rachel have 19 children. Each of their children is a testimony to their tireless prayers and their wisdom. Among these 19 children is Israel David. From a young age, his parents saw that he was exceptional. Rav Nachum marveled at the purity and sincerity of his son. One morning, as he watched his son pour out his heart in the prayer of Birkat Hamazon, he began to worry. What girl would be worthy enough to marry such an exceptional young man? To whom could he entrust the task of helping his son develop his immense potential? Well, that same morning, he received a call from a highly respected shadchan from Jerusalem offering him a beautiful proposal, the daughter of one of the most prestigious rabbis of Eretz Israel. Rav Nachum and his rebbitzin were delighted. They thanked Hashem for having heard their prayers about finding a suitable marriage partner for their son. But to their surprise, Israel David was not equally thrilled. Whereas he was sure that all his friends would covet such a special proposal, he was not looking for such a shidduch. He thought he would not feel at home with his in-laws, as every time he would get there, he would be in the limelight. Father, I'm sorry, I hope I don't disappoint you. I know you'd like to be a relative to a Rebbe, but I think this shidduch is not for me. Please tell the shadchan that we're not interested. Rav Nachum accepted Israel's decision without protest. Well, the next day, he contacted the matchmaker to decline his proposal. While hanging up, he told himself that marrying off a child was more difficult than he imagined. On Friday evening, after the Shabbat meal, Rav Nachum decided to go to a neighbor's Sheva Brachot. When he arrived, the festivities were in full swing. The tables were royally set and the conversations were lively. But something was missing. Rav Nachum sat down and began to sing a nigun, a joyful song that everyone knew, and everyone started to sing with him. The men got up and began to dance around the table. The atmosphere reached a whole new joyful level. Only one man sitting on the other side of the room looked moody. He glared at Rav Nachum and waited for the singing to stop. But it did not stop. One song followed another, and the volume and the emotion increased with each repetition. Finally, the man addressed Rav Nachum in front of everyone. Who do you think you are? The father of the groom? Silence reigned. Quickly, the men returned to their places, uncomfortable with the sudden silence. Rav Nachum thought about a good comeback, but he finally decided to refrain from answering. Some guests took advantage of the silence to say Mazal Tov and go home. Rav Nachum did the same. At home, he gazed at the Shabbat candles and murmured, Ribono Shel Olam, Master of the world, you've seen what has just happened to me. I was embarrassed in public at a Sheva Brachot, and I did not answer a word. I would like this to be a good time for my prayer to be answered. Please, Hashem, I need a shidduch for my son Israel David. The following evening, at the end of Havdalah, the phone rang. It was Sima Fried, Rav Nachum's relative from Bnei Brak. She had a shidduch for Israel David. The girl Esti was the daughter of her neighbor. Rav Nachum asked some questions about the girl and her family and decided that it was an interesting proposition. In one meeting, the shidduch was finalized. Israel David was on a cloud. She was exactly the woman he was looking for. The very evening of the meeting, Israel David and Esti got engaged. The custom in their communities was that the Chatan and Kala each spent one Shabbat with each other's families to get to know each other. The Cohen family royally welcomed the future Kala, and Israel David's younger sisters were delighted by the arrival of their future sister-in-law. They showered her with attention worthy of a celebrity. But Rav Nachum noticed that his future daughter-in-law was slightly restrained. Of course, she was naturally a little nervous to meet her new family, but she seemed more than just a little nervous. He noticed it from the moment Esti entered their home, and this feeling did not leave him during the whole of Shabbat. Rav Nachum did not want to ignore this, and at the end of Shabbat, he questioned his future daughter-in-law. Something is bothering you, Esti. Do you have something on your mind? Please, you can ask any questions you want. We want you to feel part of our family. Esti had a question. She hesitated a little and then began, What are you hiding from me about Israel David? Rav Nachum was stunned. Hide? Israel David has no problem. What you see at home is what he is. He's an excellent yeshiva student and a wonderful young man. Why do you think we're hiding something? With tears in her eyes, she answered, I will tell you why. When Mrs. Fried suggested the shidduch to my parents, they spent 2 whole weeks getting information about Israel David to make sure he was a fine boy and a good fit for me. But when she phoned you immediately agreed without doing any research. So there must be something wrong with Israel David that you're hiding. Otherwise, you would have done more research into the shidduch. Rav Nachum's face lit up with a relieved smile. Sit down for a few minutes, please, Esti. I will tell you a story that will clearly answer your concerns. He described the sequence of events since his embarrassment in public during the Sheva Brachot, and then his prayer in front of the Shabbat candles until the telephone call immediately after Havdalah. You see, when we noticed that the Shadchan was none other than Hashem, we thought that it was not necessary to make inquiries. When the phone rang just after Havdalah to offer a shidduch for Israel David, I had no doubt that God had answered my prayers the night before. Esti was reassured. She had no more suspicions. Her heart was filled with self-assurance. The perfect Shadchan had introduced her to her future husband. Today, Israel David and Esti are the happy parents of 11 children. And Rav Nachum's prayers for his son have been answered in their entirety. Shabbat Shalom.